Truth Man here in the channel is the No Matrix, No Simp and All Subjects channel. So I want to talk about a little bit about all this nagging and criticizing that these women do and what it's really doing to you. Look, man, this is one thing I noticed. I was thinking about this, and I've been thinking about this for years. The more you let some of these women talk, the more of a hold they gonna have on you. It's almost like letting a sleazy car salesman, used car, talk for 30 minutes. He gonna be done talk you into buying a piece of trash. And that's what happened to a lot of y'all. You bought into a piece of trash. You just didn't know it was trash because you was listening to all that talk. I remember some years back, one of the things that began the financial troubles that I had is, so I already had a van that was $740 a month. It was brand new out of the showroom, custom paint. It was a conversion van. It was 2000 in the year 2000, or it might have been 2001. And I had this conversion van. And so the wife was always saying, it's too big, I don't want to drive this all the time, so on and so forth. We even traded our other van, which was an Astro van. Y'all remember the Chevy Astro? It was popular in the 90s, early 2000s. We had a pretty new one with that. We traded it in for a conversion van, right? Now again, this is why I say you can't bring up the financial issues, because that was on both of us. We was agreeing, a lot of that stuff that was messing us up, we was in agreement on it. So we both liked the Pontiac Aztek when it came out. People didn't even know what it was. We already had the conversion van, because I had a job back then. I think I was making like 18, 19 an hour. And that was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. That was more back then. So we go to the car lot that don't exist no more. Ernie Von Slater here in Menominee Falls. He says, we sitting there like, man, that's gonna be a lot going on in car notes. This dude tells us, treat yourself, right? And went on this little short spiel to get us to buy that car to benefit him. What these modern women do, I'll tell you dudes this. Don't deal with women who won't shut up, because it's going to affect you. And I'm going to show you why. The more you let her talk, the more of a hold she going to have on you. The more you allow her, and I'm telling you from experience, the more you allow her to do wrong and not apologize, not make amends, and you still treating her good. But when you do wrong, you let her talk. And when y'all get into it, you letting her talk. All she's gonna do, once I figured that out, it was over. All she gonna do really is she gonna bring women to try to brainwash you. But what's crazy is they not even strong enough mentally. We allow them to do it. That's why they get out here after you leave, and these other dudes be running over them. They be thinking they in love with the worst dude, but then they had a good dude and they didn't love him. Because you let her talk too much. You let her talk too much. Nagging you, complaining like she perfect or something. You should have shut that down. I should have shut that down. A lot of guys going through it right now need to shut it down. She get to talking too much, I don't care what it's about. Just walk out the room. Go watch football. Especially if she puffing herself up. Talking about who wants her and who likes her and all that. Just walk out the room. If she talking about a dude flirting with her, walk out the room. You'll show her with that. I dare you to act on it. I will dump you. And this is why we got to have our money. And this is why they shouldn't all know about all your money. F them. I'm doing good, y'all. I don't care if you are married to them. They shouldn't know about all your money. What if they turn against you? Now they know what to come take from you. I've been peep game. I remember we used to always have joint accounts. I stopped that a long time ago. Too many arguments. Too many disagreements. Like, yo, I'm not saying, look, man, I'm going to tell you like this. Not to say that I'm better than you. I'm not. We both men. But I learned a long time ago to judge people based on what they say and do. Not based on their position as your mama, your wife. I judge people based on what they say and do. And don't do. Like if I start a business and you supposed to be a relative and you don't support it, I'm going to look at you different from that point on. Now, I'm not going to hate you, but I'm going to acknowledge who you are. So we let them talk too much. And this is why, and I told a dude in the comments, look at my comments. I told a dude earlier, he had to dump his girl, she was acting up so bad. And I said, man, F that B. I ain't say the words though. But everybody know what I was thinking. It could be forget that broad though. We have to stop loving bad women. Let them do that. They like bad guys. We should only like good women. We should only like classy women, women that everybody ain't had. If everybody done had them, then the way, if you want them like that, then you have to, excuse me, you have to acknowledge that everybody done had them. So you can't marry them. You can't move them in. They're messed up. Damaged goods. Used. If you gonna deal with a used goods, then let it be someone new. Like me, I learned my lesson buying all them old cars. I said, if I buy an old car, my aim is to completely restore it from the jump. If I can't do that or don't want to do that, I don't need to buy it. I need to buy cars that's fairly new. New. Or new. Now you let people talk. You listen to everything people say. Man, owning a house is the worst. It's the worst investment ever. Yeah, but not for everybody. Some people got kids. You want to be able to leave your kids a house. If you rent your whole life, what you gonna leave? You try to leave them your apartment, they're gonna kick them out. And I know one of my guys is a landlord. So I asked him one day, I said, so let me ask you this. If something happened to one of your tenants and they died, would you let the other ones? He said, no, he would get them out of there. Y'all let them talk too much. When you let people talk too much, it's like you gonna allow them to brainwash you. Like, this is why people can't leave their job. I don't let people brainwash me, and that's why some supervisor managers and stuff didn't like me. I'll listen to you, I'll respect your authority and everything, but you're not finna brainwash me. What's real is real and what's fake is fake. What's true is true and what's false is false. You're not finna brainwash me. And they be knowing that. They be like, we gotta get rid of this dude. In their mind, that's what they be saying. So or this is what they try to do. Even one of my supervisors in Texas said, I'm gonna break you. He told me. True story. Everything. I'm gonna break you. And when he couldn't break me, you know what one of his last words that made me quit? When something was, I told you about this many times, when they tried to blame something on me I ain't had nothing to do with. And I just was not going for it. I was standing firm. He told the one that was targeted and picking, I already told you what I'm gonna do about him. I said, what? I said, you told her what? They were trying to hold me back. I said, what you tell her? He walked out the room. She walked out the room with a smirk on her face. I was pacing. Boom, hit the locker. My coworker said, man, you gotta let that go, man. You know why he told me that? Now I'm finna show y'all something. Important lesson. He said, he telling me I gotta let it go. Right? Watch this. I said, I can't work here no more. He said, man, you gotta let that go. I said, I can't work for them. I said, working for them, what does that say about how I view myself? They tried to blame something I didn't do on me. And then act like I was in the wrong for standing up for myself. 100% true story. I'm not trying to make myself look innocent. This is what these women do too. I was told that I'm the reason we getting a divorce. No, I'm not. So we riding home. I told him, I said, you better be careful. I said, this is a game to them. You next. I said, we not from here. He was from Florida. I was from Wisconsin. The other girl was from Wisconsin, but she acclimated. And speaking of her, she tried to come back up here and get a job where I was working. I told one of my coworkers, I said, make sure you tell her if she try to come up here, I'm going to tell them how she is and how they did. Because they know me. They know me. They know how I work. They know how I think. And they would have listened. I was like, I told them, I said, if you try to come up, tell her, I said, if she try to come up here, I'm going to tell her, I'm going to tell them how she is and how they did me. She didn't try to get the job then. She already knew. What she did was, me and her got into it a couple times. One time she ran outside and started crying because what she was doing was she wasn't physically able to do the job. So she was relying on manipulation and malicious behavior. She was getting the men fired because she knew the supervisor really didn't want women working there because he said it was all boys. What's the point of them working there? So the women was linking up, getting the guys in trouble, getting them fired so they had a number. It was almost like a Big Brother reality TV show or something in real life. So when I was fighting the guy, he was like 18. And some of them was just entering the door, little muscle bound, little running back looking dude. And me and him was fighting, like literally, because he got mad because he was trying to be disrespectful, and then I was calling him up on it. I was writing him up. I gave him what they called, I ran the steps, gave him the timeout, did the check-in. He still was being disrespectful, so I wrote the 225. That's the restriction down there. So when I wrote the 225, he put his shoes on and was trying to run away. I blocked the door, and they blocked the other door. So the guy that knew him from the other facility said, let me talk to him. He'll listen to me. You think he listened to him? When he tried to talk to him, the dude grabbed him and threw him on the ground and was finna beat him up. When I stopped him, I said, man, that's enough. I said his name and said, that's enough. Stop. He started trying to tussle with me. So after a few seconds, I got tired of tussling with him. I dumped him on his head. And when I dumped him on his head, That dude shook it off and got up, and we got to going. He's swinging, I'm just blocking it because I don't want to hit him, because, you know, Wisconsin, Texas, they do things different. So I'm just blocking. But he kept trying to wrestle me, so I kept throwing him down and putting him in a handcuffing position. The girl that I'm telling you about was just standing there like that. So I'm yelling at her, handcuff him, handcuff him. The first, I put him in position like 4 times. The first time I just said, cuff him up. Now keep in mind, she was working there longer, so they never wanted, once again, something that happens in correction, they didn't want to put no respect on my name. Like I don't know what I'm doing. The corrections and the police should get people from the hood that know how these guys think. So, and not gonna be manipulated by them. So I put him in position. He got up, he tried to pick me, he tried to scoop me. The dude was strong, he practically had me on my tippy toe. So I put my legs back, because, you know, I had a couple fights. People trying to do that, I knew how to stop it. And I flipped him over again, put him in a handcuffing position. I said, cuff him up. Y'all always got something to say. Y'all freezing up during restraints. I'm yelling at him. So he got them fighting again. And this time I really dumped him. I mean, I dumped him like he gasped. Now, keep in mind, I'm 43 at the time. You gotta stay in shape. You gotta stay in fighting shape at least. Because if I wasn't in at least some type of shape, he probably would have got me, would have embarrassed me, and then probably put me in the hospital or something. Dude was strong. So at this time, I even made it. I said, ugh. I got him that time, man. I got tired of fighting, dude. He was like, ugh. And he did that. He tried to say I knocked him out, like I punched him in the face. He was trying to get me locked up. So I picked him up again, cuffed him up, or put him in a handcuffing position and put him on the desk. They finally cuffed him. Right? They said, Howard, just go in the classroom. I go in the classroom. He out there yelling, calling me all type of names and acting like an animal because he got handled, for one. Remember how Mr. T was acting in that first round when Rocky was getting him? That's how he was acting. So they told me, Howard, go in the classroom. I go in the classroom. What were they thinking to bring him in there? Did they forget that I was in there? So I came out of the classroom just to peek around there and see what was going on. They bring him in there. I don't know if he was sick. To this day, I've never seen that much phlegm. He's like, I ducked all the way down. Knees practically hit the floor. Went over my head. Why they get mad at me? Because they had to clean it up. They was scrubbing. It was all over the pictures, the wall. It was a little chair under there, I think. It was everywhere. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know if it was blood, I didn't look. But because he was supervisor, because a lot of talking going on, they tried to act like that was my fault. Then he spit on that wall and then he cut up like that. Cause they don't like it was a halfway house, so for them to keep their funding, they gotta keep their numbers up. But man, you can't get mad at me if I'm doing my job and these dudes can't handle being around me, so they keep trying to run away. That ain't my fault. It ain't like I'm treating them unfair. I'm just not going for their bull. That's how women is, man. You don't go for their bull crap. A lot of them let them talk too much. Like, it's almost like if your supervisor is putting out wrong information, you just sitting there letting them talk. Or if a worker, you the supervisor and a worker putting out wrong information, you just sitting there letting them talk. You got to correct people. That's why the United States is so bad, because they're correcting certain people, but not everybody and not every situation. This is why the turnover on some jobs is so bad, because they allowing these workers to get comfortable, but they insecure, so they get to treating the new people bad because they worried about them taking their spot or getting more notoriety than them. It happened every time in correction. The only place it wasn't happening, well, it still was to a certain extent, but sometimes new people can be like that too. Instead of being a teammate, you want to be a competition with somebody that already know what they're doing. You should be listening to them. It works both ways. So it didn't happen as much there because they knew how I was. I knew how to deal with situations, experience. They had respect on my name. But as soon as I went over to the other place, they didn't want to put no respect on my name. You talking too much. You listen to the wrong kind of talk. That's like a woman listening to Shira 7 or Tanya TKO. You ain't gonna get what you need to be in the right situation as a woman listening to Shira 7. So that's what it's like. You letting them talk too much. You the leader, not them. Why they talking so much? That's a mistake I made, so I know. I can admit, you gotta learn from your mistakes, man. I learned from my mistakes, and I'm teaching y'all. The other women I dealt with, they wasn't doing all that talk because I wasn't going for it. But I turned a blind eye in my marriage. And that's why I'm not finna be in a marriage. It is, a lot of stuff is my fault. So in some ways, when she say, you the reason, it's true, but not how she's saying it. I let that get out of control. Talking too much, doing too much. You trying to put this expectation on me, but you ain't got it on yourself. So when a guy finally starts seeing that and he starts standing on him, you ain't been standing on him. So when you start standing on them, most of them ain't gonna take it. Like a lot of y'all listen to me, y'all start standing on y'all wife, they ain't gonna go for it. You end up having to dump them, and that's okay. It's okay. The Most High ain't gonna be mad at you. He ain't. Y'all, people got this all twisted, man. I'm telling you. One day, I'm gonna make a video, one of these Sunday sermons or whenever, and I'm gonna completely break down the expectation of the Most High for a man in marriage, in relationships. It ain't what you think. Trust me when I tell you that. But you let them talk too much, you're going to give them more power. The more talk, the more power. We saw it with Adam and Eve, didn't we? At the beginning, just the same mistake Adam made. He let Eve talk when she should have been shutting up and following directions. She wasn't the leader. People say, well, it wasn't. Listen, if somebody call you a helper, who the leader? It was clear. And all you preachers talking that old goofy stuff, now you calling yourself co-pastors, man, you ain't impressing the Most High with that. And that's coming from the prophet. You is not impressed. You got a woman on the same level as you. You making her a man, and you think the Most High is pleased. I used to watch that stuff on TBN like, man, these dudes is crazy. Even I know that, and I was young back then. I'm like, even I know that ain't how it's supposed to be. It happened with my parents. Letting my mother talk too much. Letting her get away with too much. And it got out of control. Got out of control. They can't mean that much to you. I know it sounds cruel. They can't mean that much to you. They gotta earn that. Recreational use only. Make you take them serious. It's easy. It's easy. Here we go again with this snow, y'all. I can't wait, man. Snow be practically making me sad. Like just how you had to change the way you drive, and it makes me sad. It do. Y'all get what I'm saying? Stop letting women nag you. Nip it in the bud. If they raise their voice to you, you raise your voice higher. If they raise it higher, you be like, you know what? You ain't the one for me. Even if you got kids, you know what? You're just not the one for me. Because you blocking everything in your life by allowing a woman to be running stuff. I'm telling you, man. Only thing she should be running if y'all got kids when you ain't there. And when you are there, she should have a say, but you got the final say. My kids is good kids. They good kids. They got a couple disciplinary actions from myself. But I never had to always do that because they didn't want to deal with that for me. And I had to rough my younger son up when we was down in Texas. He's just getting a little too slick at the mouth. You got to do what you got to do. But what I'm telling you is this. Especially you got sons, man. You gotta show your sons, man. I kind of messed up with that. It's like when by the time I learned, they was like kind of already influenced by her. So now I say, okay, well, the only thing I can show them is how they supposed to stand on a woman. So that's what I show them. Don't care about no vagina. I can go buy that. I could go and look at that on the internet and get one off. You're not finna run me over that. And matter of fact, you ain't the only one with one of them. So why would I let a woman control me with that? And sometimes you do say stuff that you shouldn't say. But when a person says stuff they shouldn't say to you, it's going to cause you to say stuff you shouldn't say to them. That's called arguing. But one time we got to arguing, and I brought up something because I used to deal with her cousin before I knew her. I didn't know her. And I made a comment. Because I was furious. It just came out. I said, you try to act like you all that because you this. You type say your cousin. That's what happened. That's why you shouldn't be arguing. These women take to heart what guys say to them. If you wouldn't have been arguing with him, he wouldn't have never said it. Most of them, some guys just don't know how to treat women. I know how to treat women. But treating women is also, you got to put them in their place when they get out of place. And if you can't, you need to leave her alone. If she in the wrong and won't accept it, man, that ain't the one for you. And look, man, just like she was going all goo goo gaga over Jalen Hurts, the fact of the matter is this: I know it's guys that women gonna find more attractive than me, but that works both ways. Work both ways now. In fact, I see every day, and you gonna see every day, women that are more attractive than your girlfriend and your wife. And don't ever let them brainwash you otherwise. Tell them, stop asking me questions that you ain't gonna like the answer to. You know you ain't the prettiest woman in the world. You know you ain't got the best shape in the world. Why are you trying to get me to say that? That's brainwashing. Do I look fat? Do you? Why they ask people that? Next time she say that, say, yeah, you look fat, but I like chubby women. You see how quick I be nutting? Or something like that. Dude, I'm the truth, man, y'all. This channel ain't for the most religious people that can't handle the truth. So, yeah, man. Don't let them bait you into nothing, man. You keep the power. You more stronger than them. You got to be more stronger than them mentally. Because if you don't cultivate it, then they going to out-talk you. You get to out-talking me, you got to go. Simple as that. I should be looking at your booty cheeks out of a nightgown, not hearing how bad I am as a person. You should be showing me some cheeks. Dude, marry you, man, put a nightgown on, you can see kind of through it. Lock your door if you got kids. If they come in the room, put your robe over it. But when they ain't in the room, man, you should be showing cheeks and pretty feet. These women, blah, 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 blah. How about this? What if I did? See? That's not the way to go. Okay, so why would you argue with me? Because that's what I would do to a man after a while. I'll be like, okay, one of us got to win. Man, what's happening? Ain't no way I'm going to argue with no dude for no 2-3 years. That's why I stay away from people like that. Because it don't make sense to fight when we could be eating. We could be eating grits and bacon for breakfast. Smash burgers for dinner. And you want to fight. Man, if you don't get out of here like we two gorillas or something. Let me get off of here again, y'all, before I get in trouble.